welcome to That's a Freebie, the guaranteed only podcast where you can hear me complain about runners.
Sit back, relax, unless you're driving. It's time for That's a Freebie.
Welcome everybody. Yes, it is that time of year again where I get to complain about the runners in Manchester. To be fair, it's not really the runners, it's actually the runners' families. This weekend just gone was the Manchester, I think it was a half marathon. I'm not 100% sure actually, I wasn't really paying much attention to it this time. It seemed to come around at a different time to usual. I'm sure it's usually earlier in the year. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's already happened once this year. I know there was a 10k and a half, or maybe it was a 10k and a marathon earlier in the year. And it is now the half marathon. I'm sure it's the half marathon. Anyway, doesn't really matter. It's not the runners necessarily that I'm complaining about. I don't care about the runners. They can run all they want. It's the runners' families, right? So they obviously need to get the tram to go and spectate, but they don't think to themselves, I know what we'll do. We'll set off early because the trams are going to be busy. No, they all seem to converge at the exact same time. It's absolutely bonkers. So I was waiting for the tram. I purposely set off early because I knew what was going to happen. And there's a whole bunch of runners on the platform. No, actually, again, sorry, not true. Runners' families on the tram platform. The race had already started and a lot of them were complaining that they were missing it. So why you've set off at that point, I don't care. But this is how ridiculous it gets. At least, I'd say, out of everybody there, about 70% of them had a pram. There's only room for one pram on the tram. Maybe if you can squeeze several on, and there's not a load of other people there, which there obviously was, you can get more on. But there's only officially a space for one pram. And that needs to be given up if a disabled person gets on, because the spaces are technically for a wheelchair, it's not for a pram. Which is what happened. Somebody got on with a pram, and there was a person with a wheelchair who was there waiting before them. They literally pushed in front of them. So a whole hoo-ha happened because they were trying to tell that person that they needed to move. The driver ended up having to get off the tram and say, you need to move that pram. You can fold the pram up, you can't fold the wheelchair up. The kid in this pram must have been about 5 or 6 years old. And that's the problem I have with them. I understand prams are necessary. I've had 2 children. I've had to push them around in prams. It's not easy to carry everything that you need and the kid. It's just not. Even just the kid on their own would be difficult. But these were kids that didn't need to be in prams. There was nothing else on the prams. Like all they were doing was using it to carry their bags, which it's one bag. It's like just not necessary. So big queue of prams. So people couldn't get on the tram because of this big queue of prams, right? And then there was a guy who brought 4 deck chairs with him, got onto the tram, unfolded them, asking people to move out of his way so he could unfold them, sat down on one of them, and then let his family sit down on the other 4, so they were taking up an entire middle section of the tram. Deck chairs! Who brings deck chairs onto a tram? God, it was frustrating. As usual, I got to have fun watching them all queue up at the wrong end of the platform. The platforms are long, the trams only cover a quarter of the platform at the most. So they all queue at the end at the steps where they've walked up, and then the tram goes all the way to the other side of the platform, and watching them all run down to the tram is hilarious, which obviously gives me time to get on. Problem is then getting off, because you get blocked by everybody. Crazy. They all stand around the ticket machines, they stand at the top of the stairs so you can't get on. It's unbelievable. And then as we're going along, you don't normally see this, but as the tram's moving along, I noticed that there seemed to be a lot of people driving there this time. But they were all trying to drive on the route that's closed for the runners. Watching everybody get out of the cars and stand at the side of the cars wondering why they couldn't get anywhere was a lot of fun, actually. Yeah, it was pretty good. You can see them, they all had the cardboard things in the back of the car, that they're going to hold up, all the signs and things like that. Yeah, it was fun watching everybody not plan for something that happens every year, that they probably all participate in every year and know exactly what it's going to be like. Yeah. Anyway, that's it until next March, I think. Yep, I think it's next March. I don't know if I mentioned this already. I probably should now, because I'm calling people here, but I'm going to be joining them next year. I have signed up for the 10k next year, which I do absolutely 100% regret right now. I haven't done nearly enough training for it, but I do plan on starting soon, so we'll have to just hope that it's enough. I've never run in my life. Last time I ran, I did it for about 3 weeks and injured my knee, and I've had a bad knee ever since. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to get myself a support strap for my knee before I start doing it, I think. And once I come back from holiday, which I'll talk about later, once I come back from that, the plan then is to start properly training for the run. So I'll keep you up to date on how that goes. I thought, because we're at the end of the first half term, I would give a little school update on how things are going. So the boy, absolutely fine. He seems to be really enjoying his new class. Not really surprised there. He's in the same school. He's got teachers that he knows. We actually know his teacher personally. She's a family friend. So he already knows his teacher. He has 2 teachers, actually. And the other one he knew anyway because his sister had her for the previous 2 years. So not really a surprise there. He's doing absolutely fine. The girl is doing great as well. You'll probably recall the trauma of getting her into a school that we found suitable for her. If you don't know all that, I'm not going to rehash it right now. Go back the last, 10 episodes where I've probably talked about some form of schooling for my daughter. She has ADHD and dyslexia. I always forget about the dyslexia, actually. It's really come to light more this term, though, than it previously has. She has been getting an unbelievable amount of homework. Now, I knew she was going to get homework. She knew she was going to get homework. We were blessed that she never really got much homework in the previous school that she was in. But I think it's too much. And I'm not just talking about for her. It's so much homework. So before I started recording today, I went and counted it up. She's had this half term, 26 pieces of homework. And all of them, apart from the maths homework that she could do online, and she really enjoys doing that online, because she can do it independently. It's good. She watches a video, she answers questions. It's good for her. She likes it because, like I said, she can do it independently. The others require an ungodly amount of reading, and one of her homework is reading. She has to read for at least 20 minutes 3 times a week. Which for her, so for most kids, that's probably 4 or 5 pages at the least. For her, it's about half a page. And it's really disheartening for her because she knows she hasn't gone through much. And once she's done that, she has to then answer questions about what she's read. But she's not really read enough to quantify the questions because the questions are like, who are the main characters in the pages that you've just read? Can you write a headline for the part of the story that you're on? Can you write 3 comprehension questions? I'm trying to think of the things that are in the book now. So she's she's really enjoying it, and her reading is coming on so well. I'm actually I do the reading with her. It tends to be mine and her thing because we're reading a book together called Orion Lost, and I can see the difference in her reading every time she picks the book up. What I have found is, for the first, so what we've been doing is we've not been doing 20 minutes. We've been trying to do a chapter a night. And the way we do it is she reads 2 pages, I read 2 pages. She reads 2 pages, I read 2 pages. And that usually covers a chapter. There might be a little bit left at the end. It's a book that's designed for preteens, so it's a decent level for her. It's probably lower than what she should be on, but it's actually really good for her. And I can see the difference. But what I have found is for the first half an hour of reading, we probably spend about an hour reading. For the first half an hour, she's massively unfocused and she really struggles to not make jokes about what she's reading or say she wants to change some of the words. And you can tell it's just her ADHD kicking in and doing what it does, really. But then after that first half hour, she starts getting a little bit more tired and she's not got as much energy. She suddenly becomes really focused on the reading and she just goes for it. So for the first half hour, she might read 2 pages. And then I'll read my 2 pages, and then she'll get to hers. And so before now, she's ploughed on and done 4 pages in 10 minutes, which is amazing for her. So she is doing really well with it. I do wish she didn't have so much homework. We spend so much time trying to manage her homework and making sure she's got it with her and making sure she's done it for a start. We're trying basically say that she needs to spend about an hour and a half each night doing homework, because we found if we were giving her say, oh, you've got these pieces of homework that you need to get completed by this date, she'd just leave them all till the very last day, which we all did. I did that growing up as well. I don't blame her for doing that, but she hasn't got the ability to do it as quickly as everybody else. So the teachers are saying each piece of homework should take 20 minutes. It takes her about 2.5 to 3 hours per piece of homework. So she needs to just do a little bit each night, and she has to take a break and come away and do it again. And what we're having to do is we're having to do it in 20-minute stints, just to give her time for her brain to unfocus. Well, unfocus isn't the word, but she becomes unfocused if she's doing it for longer than that. So yeah, it's quite a difficult challenge. That's the thing. The only thing I wish would be different, I suppose, is the homework. Now, she's getting the same homework as everybody else, so that, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. She can't read it and she can't do the writing, and it is all basically read these 20 paragraphs, summarize each paragraph, and then it asks you questions about each paragraph that you've then got to highlight in the paragraph using a highlighter. She can do the highlighting bit fine, but she needs one of us to read it to her or read it with her. And then when it comes to summarizing it, she can't do it. Like she gets it. She understands the concept. I just don't think her way of thinking helps for that kind of situation. She's just not a summarizing person. She summarizes it, but in the same number of words that they've used to write it in the first place, because she's thorough in what she does. She's always been like that. When she writes something down, she's very thorough in the way she writes it. She won't use contractions. She will write every sentence to its fullest and use as many words as possible. And sadly, that's just how she is. So yeah, that's the only bugbear at the moment with her work, but she is handling it fine. There's been 2 instances where there's homework that she's not handed in on time, but one of them was just that she took it out of her bag, or she thought she'd taken it out of her bag and she hadn't. She actually had it, she just didn't hand it in because she thought she didn't have it. And another one was because there was a supply teacher that day. It just had to be handed in the week after, so that wasn't a huge issue, really. From a parent point of view, the complaint I have is just the sheer amount of communication from the school, which sounds like a weird thing to complain about. You would expect you want as much communication as possible, which I do, absolutely. But it's newsletter after newsletter after newsletter, or email about this specific day. This week, I've, again, counted it up before I started. I've had 9 emails from the school. Well, actually, not this week. It's Monday as I record now. Last week, 9 emails between Monday and Friday. Only one of them was relevant to my kid. Now, I understand it's probably much more difficult to separate them out between classes, but blimey, he's had a lot of emails. You get to the point where you've lost track of what's happening on what day and what they need to do. One day they needed PE kits, but it said on the email only year 10 needed the PE kits. She's in year 7. Absolutely fine. Doesn't need a PE kit. Goes to school that day. She's the only one not wearing a PE kit. She was right. It turns out it was everybody else in the class that had misunderstood. But she got upset because she has ADHD. She thought that she was the one that was being different to everybody else. It didn't make any difference whatsoever. They all just stayed in the PE kits. It didn't make any difference. But she was upset when she came home because she was the only one that was different, even though she was the one doing it right. And it's just that confusing. I understand why all those other kids came in the PE kits. They probably thought, well, at least if we've got our PE kit on, we can still do regular lessons. If we've not got our PE kit on, we can't do PE if he asks us to. Makes sense, right? So yeah, that's been another issue. She's found ways to keep herself busy while she's there. One thing I was a little bit worried about is she is a bit of a loner. She reminds me a lot of me when I was at school. I had, I think, one friend when I was at school, like someone who I could call an actual friend. I had lots of acquaintances, but just one actual real friend who was in the band. So he was busy a lot because band practice was almost every lunch. So I found myself having to do, well, something. I used to just wander around trying to work out what I wanted to do. I mean, I liked it, don't get me wrong. I'm actually quite a person who likes being on the road, even when I was a kid. But there were times where I'd get really, really bored and need something to do, and my school didn't have any clubs whatsoever. This school, however, has lots and lots of clubs. You're allowed to join 4 of them per term. She's joined 6 somehow. I don't know how she's managed to join more than you're allowed to, but they've let her. So she said the other week, she said, well, I've managed to get myself in a club during every lunchtime now, so I know exactly where I am and what I've got to do. And I think that's part of it. She just likes the structure. She doesn't like, right, there you go, do what you want for an hour. She likes to have to be somewhere. So she's joined drama club, dodgeball club, Once Upon a Review, which is where they watch Disney movies and review them, newsletter club, art club, and boxing club. And she loves all of them, apparently. So that's quite good. I'm actually happy with that. I'm fine. She's got something to do, and she really enjoys them all. The one that she doesn't talk about much is newsletter club, so I'm not sure how much she actually enjoys that. And I'm really surprised she enjoyed that as well. That and drama. I wasn't really expecting her to join drama club because she is not a performer kind of person. She is a hideaway kind of person. But I'm really glad she has. That's really good. A newsletter club involves sending out newsletters. So I'm assuming she's done that one to challenge herself a little bit by the sound of things. So yeah, they are the clubs. That's the school update. Let's move on. Just to let you know, next week I will be on holiday. It's not going to affect the show because there won't be an episode next week anyway. It might affect the show the week after. Probably not, because I'll be back for the usual recording times. I'm just not sure where everybody else is, what we're going to be doing. I might have a lot of unpacking to do, that kind of stuff. If there's no episode in 2 weeks, it's because I simply just didn't have time to make one. But I have every intention of making one, so don't worry, there should be an episode. Incidentally, this will be the first time I've been on a plane since I was a teenager. And the first time the kids have been on a plane. My wife has a few times in the last few years, so she's the one who's going to be knowing everything about what to do in the airport. I keep telling her she's going to be the one who's guiding us around. I'm sure she's really happy about that. So yeah, maybe give me lots to talk about on the next few episodes because I have no idea how the kids are going to react to a plane. They seem very excited about it. I guess we'll see. I thought for the end of the show, I would read out some more low-stakes conspiracies. Low-stakes conspiracies. It helps if you say it correctly, right? The reason I'm going for more of those is because I didn't have much to talk about this week. And also, I love them. I'm really obsessed with them at the minute. I can't stop looking at them. So I've copied down 3 of my favourites, because 2 of them are quite longish. All right, so low-stakes conspiracy theory, number 1. There's a product called Soppyposs, where we forget about the existence of it, but we're all addicted to it. It goes on to say, just hear me out, man. It's one of the biggest capitalist conspiracies of all times. There's this product which is sold as a viscous packaged polymade type protein called Soppyposs. It's available in all well-known supermarket chains. It is possible to make it into a drink, but most of us compulsively eat it raw like a paste as soon as we get it home. One 500 megagram package, or milligram, I don't know, of Soppyposs costs around $90. The pernicious aspect of Soppyposs is that the only time we are conscious of its existence is when we see it on the shelves at the supermarkets. It's some crazy newfangled stuff where it compels you to buy it the instant you look at it. They've set it up where it is invisible on bills and impossible to recall anything of its existence, and we're unable to see other people purchasing Soppyposs. What the hell? It's of almost no nutritional value, but low calorie. They think it stimulates the economy or whatever. But I'm here to blow the lid off this. We can't just keep feeding us this Soppyposs crap, especially when we have no choice as to whether we buy it or not. I would be afraid to post this, but I'm not egotistical enough to think I can make a dent in this technological, economic plague. People are likely to ignore this post and just go on purchasing this infernal damned product. Well, I certainly don't remember ever eating anything called Soppyposs. But then I wouldn't, would I? Oh my God, it's true. Oh, right, what I'll do next time I'm at the supermarket and I see it on the shelf, because I'll know about it at that point, I'll write it down on my show notes and I'll report back. If I never report back, it means it's not true. I mean, we all know it's not true, right? Low stakes conspiracy. Number 2. Banksy works for Bristol Council. And it just says, does what it says on the tin. It got out of hand. Can you imagine if that's all it turned out to be? And this one is quite possibly my favourite low stakes conspiracy theory. The weasel that shifted our timeline. The untold 2016 story. In 2016, CERN was running their experiments on the God particle, trying to unlock the deepest secrets of the universe. The world watched, unaware. Then, a small weasel found its way inside the Large Hadron Collider and chewed through critical cables, causing a sudden shutdown. This wasn't a mere accident, it was cosmic intervention. Scientists were meddling with powers far greater than they knew, forces that could unravel time itself. The weasel's bite stopped them, and when the collider shut down, the timeline fractured. Suddenly, Donald Trump, a man no one expected to win, surged to power like fate itself pushed him forward. We were dropped into a new reality, the Trump timeline. It's not about politics, it's about divine timing through chaos. If you listen closely, you can still hear the whispers of the weasel reminding us how fragile our reality really is. Yeah, I could probably get behind that because it does feel that in 2016 something mental happened. The world changed. I mean, Trump came into power. That's probably what happened and caused the world to change. But it felt like there was something behind it. There probably was. A lot of rich people. Anyway, this show isn't about politics. No. Thank you all for listening. Remember, you can go to andonemorething.net to see more of my stuff. I'm still working on a few edits of Law and Disorder. I've got them all recorded now at this point. I'm just working on the edits, and they will be released in January as originally promised. Members will get them first. They've already had 2, I do believe. I can't remember what I'm up to. So do remember to join That's a Freebie Plus, which I still haven't rebranded, but I will be doing soon. Probably in time for the 100th episode, actually. Maybe that's when I need to start thinking about marketing more. Maybe. Who knows? Anyway, this week's final joke. I told my wife that she should embrace her mistakes. So she gave me a hug.